Supply chain development can be complex in any industry, but few more so than medical devices. One company at the forefront of supply chain design is DHL. Suzanne Amholt, VP for Business Development, Life Sciences and Healthcare, EMEA at DHL Supply Chain, joins me now. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
Now, we spoke in the run-up to LogiMed last year. What are the biggest changes you've seen in DHL supply chain since then, particularly with regards to the medical device wing?
The biggest changes we've seen after last year's event is the request for more specialised value-added services. So not only looking into consolidation of supply chains, but also more complex value-added services where we could bring a value to the customer.
So how are you getting across that? What kind of projects are you working on?
There are different projects like spare parts for machines, for example, where we use competences that we have within different business sectors within DHL, and we're also looking to shorten return and repair lead times.
So at LogiMed, you're going to be discussing supply chain consolidation strategies. How do you identify which areas can be consolidated within a wide and diverse supply chain portfolio?
That's always very complex with our customers. And what you need to do is that you have to look at the product portfolio, and then you need to match it to the go-to-market strategy for those products. And then you can start to map out where you could have consolidation opportunities.
So once you've identified those opportunities, what's your approach to rectifying inefficiencies?
We often try to work with our customers in a consultative mode, so we don't just propose a standard solution. We want to get into a dialogue with the customer to fully understand what they want to achieve and what the value add could be for their customers, which would be the hospitals or the users of their products. So we try to set up workshops, we work and try to guide together with the customers and develop new solutions with them.
What's the process then that you go through, if it's possible to talk through how you identify these areas? Because it is one of those things where it seems like, particularly with medical devices, it's so disparate, everything from scalpels to scanners, and how you work out which bits of those can be united.
You need to narrow down the scope to start with, so you need to start in one end, and we try to identify. Well, it depends on the company. Are they looking for a quick win? Do they want to change the whole setup? So what are they really, the final objective of the project? Then you can start looking what product group to focus on. And then you go product group by product group. And then in the end, you might find also consolidation opportunities then between the different product groups. And we do it all in workshop type of forums together with the customers. And we have a standardized approach towards how we drive workshops. And we also use then resources from within the wider DHL organization, where we have experience from other industry sectors, and we try to reuse those solutions also within the medical device environment.
So it's quite interesting, you're taking that collaboration ideal that everyone has been talking about, particularly within supply chain of recent years, and applying it across the whole of DHL.
Yeah, we do. And I mean, all these things are so complex, as you were saying, that you can't give a standard answer. It's very difficult to go out for an RFQ and ask for a new pricing or a new solution, because you might not get what you are looking for. So the best way to do it is actually to work together in a partnership and develop the solution together.
Talking of those partnerships, obviously you are a 3PL provider, so you're the middleman, as it were, not the one end or the other. So what value is the service provider then adding and in support of all this?
The value we bring is that the customer can focus on their core competences and their core businesses, whether that might be sales and marketing or production or whatever is their core business. And then we can support with all the other services around that. And we can also share then resources both within the medical device industry, but also in related industry sectors. So talking about machines that we did earlier for medical device sector, that links very closely into technology sector within DHL. And we can reuse resources and solutions that we already have in place.
I suppose to some degree you're in this sort of middle area, you are helping to increase collaboration between those organisations at one end of the supply chain and the other.
Yep.
Does this mean that essentially you're designing the systems that they then go on to use in a lot of cases?
Yeah, we do, and we design it together with the customers, and also sometimes together with the customers, especially if we're talking about the hospital environment, where we also have a lot of experience from different countries running large supply chains, and where we have knowledge and contacts, and we can put the two together and develop that together from both sides.
Now, this is all fantastically positive, but obviously it can't be that easy, otherwise everyone would be doing it. So what are the main challenges that you're finding with your clients in the medical device supply chain that they're facing right now?
Well, the biggest challenges is, of course, the increasing cost pressure, increasing importance of the group purchasing groups for the hospitals. And that, of course, puts them in a difficult situation because you need to save at the same time as you need to develop. So you need to find a balance between, well, how can we spend money to actually develop our supply chain, to be more lean, to be more efficient, so that in the end we could actually maybe meet the demands from the public organizations in terms of cost savings. And also, how can I then differentiate my product so that they will actually buy my product and not the competitors? And I guess that's the biggest challenge they have right now.
As a third-party provider then, how is it that you convince new business in the medical device arena to go third-party when cost saving is so important? Often one of the arguments is that it will be more expensive to have someone do it for you. How do you bring that value in?
So what we do, as I said earlier, we work together with the customer to develop the solutions. And what we also do is that we support the customer in developing their internal business case. Because if they don't have a business case internally to make the change, there won't be a change. So that's the first focus we have, to make sure that there is an internal business case with the customer. If not, okay, we work together with you to make sure that you get the components you need to put that together, and then we can take the next step.
And what type of barriers do you think there are to industry growth in general then in the medical device area, particularly within obviously the supply chain and logistics?
I think that depends on where you are within that segment, because it's very different if you have consumer type of products which are more commoditized today, and it's really difficult to sell your product on anything else than price. Or if you have a high value, more complex product where you can actually demonstrate an added value with the product. So I guess that's the biggest difficulty for companies today. Also, we see the growth is also depending on, of course, the aging population and the emerging markets. And there, of course, you have the situation with, where are the situation going with the emerging markets? Will they grow as expected, or will that slow down? And that will also impact the growth.
I think most people would probably argue at this point that it's only going to speed up, at least for the short term, in terms of the emerging markets. What kind of changes have you found you've had to make in order to better serve that part of the world? Or those parts of the world, I should say.
Yeah, I would say emerging markets, or for us, Asia Pacific, where we have a lot of the emerging markets included, with China and India and so on, has really picked up this year. We're working on a number of projects right now where we are looking at consolidation into central hubs in Asia Pacific. And many larger medical device companies are going down that route right now to better serve those markets, because they see that there is really a growth there.
Actually, I did want to ask you a little more about emerging markets. How much autonomy do those particular business units have, considering that I'm sure you want a complete global overview in the one sense, but on the other hand, it's very important to have those specialists in those areas who really know those markets, how to get to those hard-to-reach areas and those massively built-up urban conurbations.
And normally our customers are organized in the exact same way as we are. So we work in regions. So we work with the EMEA, APAC and Americas. And as you say, it's important because you need to have that local knowledge about what you're doing. And how much you would ever wish to consolidate everything on a global level, that might only be applicable for a very, very small part of your products. But on the bigger scale, normally you would do it by region, just to keep that local knowledge available, and it's really, really important.
Now, you're on the advisory board for LogiMed this year. Given that, what kind of objectives are you looking and hoping to get out of the conference itself, and perhaps for the industry, wider industry as a whole?
So as always, it's really interesting to meet all the key players within the industry and to really understand where they are going, what they are looking for, and what their major challenges are right now. And that's one of our main objectives, to be part of that discussion. And I think LogiMed is a very good forum for that. Some special areas of interest this year is to learn something more about the UDI, unique device identification, which is coming up now as a new requirement, and that will of course have implications for the manufacturers in terms of labeling and packaging, but also for the whole supply chain and the track and trace capabilities. So what we are seeing is that medical devices are coming much closer to pharma products now, where we have a good long-standing experience. So we want to see where this is going and how far the industry has taken this.
Well, Suzanne, thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us. It was genuinely fascinating. If people do want to find out more that can't make it down to LogiMed itself and they want to know more about DHL supply chain, where can they go?
They can go to our website, dhl.com, and there they can get in contact with us or read more.
Fantastic. And if you do want to find out more about LogiMed itself and any of the topics that we've covered today, make sure to visit www.logimedeurope.com.